Welcome to our webinar, End-to-End Demo of Preparing and Lodging Local File Parts A and B with CCH Integrator. I'm Tony and I'll be your moderator today. Your presenters today from Walters Kluwer are Daniel Levin, Solutions Enablement Leader, and Grace Lim, Product Manager. In today's webinar, Daniel and Grace will be providing a walkthrough of CCH Integrator for anyone in need of a solution to prepare and lodge their Australian Local File Parts A and B. You can submit questions via the Questions tab at any time throughout the webinar. Due to the limited time available to present, we will respond to all questions post the webinar. I think we're ready to begin, so I'll hand you over to Daniel and Grace.
Thanks, Tony. Welcome everyone to today's webinar. This is about the third or fourth one we've done for this year. It'll be our final one for 2017. So we thought we've done a lot of discussion around the local file today. So today we are going to be focusing on the solution itself and how easy it is to prepare the full local file in CCH Integrator. So before Grace goes in and presents a full demonstration of the solution, we might just do a quick recap. So today's agenda, we're going to do a quick recap of the local file requirements, a quick overview of Integrator, so there's some context setting for what our platform is, and then a demonstration of the Australian local file solution specifically. And afterwards, we'll have some key takeaways from the session. So very quickly, by now, most of you will probably be familiar with the requirements, but for those who are not, very quickly, there are two types of local files that need to be potentially prepared in Australia, depending on your particular requirements and profile. So we have a short form local file which requires some qualitative descriptions of your local business's operations in Australia. This is a direct lift from the OECD local file requirements. It's the only part of the OECD local file guidance that was lifted by the ATO for taxpayers to prepare a short form local file. So the requirements in here are largely going to be required by very small inbound-based multinationals in Australia, unlikely to be preparing an IDS currently. So it is just essentially answering those 5 key questions. They'll also need to be prepared on either in an Excel spreadsheet or a Word document, and then uploaded as an attachment in our software, which we'll show you today. Then the broader local file requirements are Part A and Part B. So Part A being a substitute to Section A of your IDS, specifically questions 2 to 17, which is largely a disaggregated form of reporting from what you normally use to in preparing your IDS disclosures. So just more detailed transactional information to the ATO. And then Part B is all new information that you previously have not submitted to the ATO. So this is where you need to prepare or submit a lot of your supporting information. For example, your intercompany legal agreements for the material transactions that you're disclosing in Part A, along with the APAs you may have in place, copy of financial statements, and any rulings as well that you might have had agreed. So really, when you boil down to it, your local file is made up of numeric data and also binary attachments or attachments that you need to be submitting, which is why you do need to use a solution to be able to get all of this information into that defined XML schema by the ATO. All right, so very briefly on CCH Integrator. So for those of you who are unfamiliar with our platform, CCH Integrator now is about 15 years old. It started a long time ago while it was owned by one of the big 4 services firms, and 7 years ago then acquired by Walters Kluwer. We spent a significant amount of R&D investment into the platform, evolutionizing it into other forms of tax compliance and reporting. So very quickly, you can see it's made up of 3 layers. We have a core layer at the bottom, which shows our core architecture and design, which is where we do all of our software coding. Our design layer, which is really the heart of Integrator, and that provides end users with the ability to configure and design their own work papers and schedules and calculations in the platform, particularly heavily used in the income tax space, where we have a lot of flexibility in the product. And then at the very top, you can see our end user the final client solutions that can be used by end users licensed individually or collectively. So we have over 300 corporations globally using Integrator in all different ways, some just for the Australian local file, some with income tax as well. But very importantly, Integrator is one single platform. So that means you don't have separate solutions built on different technology stacks. You have one platform only, one login, access wherever you want around the world, provided you have a secure internet connection. and our Australian local file sits within that transfer pricing solution set. So the Australian local file, I guess, Grace, you probably best be talking about our Australian local file solution, the end-to-end process, and then I think I might hand it over to you to actually do the demonstration today.
Hi, everyone. My name is Grace, and before I jump into the solution itself, I just walk through on the step-by-step process on your end-to-end local file processes. As usual, for all kind of compliance work, the starting point is always your source data. Whether it is from a system or non-system data we collected. Either you can use your original Excel template, or if you want to implement a further automation in how you can transform your data into a disclosure, you can always opt to use our Bob the Robot data transformer. Going from there, we can then import or data load all the data that is required into CCH Integrator. In Integrator, you can prepare not just your local file part A and B, but also on your lodgement information as well as all your attachments. On top of that, data validation on your disclosure as well as data export can be done in Integrator, which results in a submission of your local file in electronic format via SBR.
Probably the last point to add in, Grace, I think you touched on it really well, is we have the flexibility in Integrator to consume your information either through that Excel data collection template or through our robotics tool that we built this year. So we've had some fantastic feedback from corporations that have gained a lot of efficiency from previous IDS data collection processes for their future local file, but we're cognizant of the fact that we're now running into a very time-sensitive period. And for those of you that are 31 December year ends, we do have an ability to get data in very quickly without the need to necessarily transform it, and perhaps that's something to look at for next year when you want to improve your process.
Absolutely. Now, without further ado, let's jump straight into what local file is about. Australian local file comes in two schedules in CCH Integrator. The first schedule is called CBC Local File General. These are the general information that you need to provide every time you submit your local file to the ATO, be it that you submit in a piecemeal basis or in an aggregated local file, master file, plus your CBC report detail to the ATO. You can do it in either way. The second schedule is about your local file Part A and Part B. We have a whole series of questions detected by the ATO, including places where you can attach your form. Now, let's just come to local file general first. This is a dynamic form that you can use based on the answers that you answer in these first 7 questions. So perhaps you will start with local file short form, master file, as well as the CBC data collection or data presentation. And supposedly you are a tax agent or an intermediary. All this information or questions will cascade down, which means these are the questions that you need to answer in order to submit the above-mentioned report. On top of that, we allowed you to attach your local file short form as well as your master file here in the schedule itself. Now, what you will see here in the schedule is also the name, the file name of the attachment. I'll come back to how do you attach a file in a while, especially for local file Part B.
The other point there, I think Grace, you touched on, which is really good, is we have the ability in Integrator to be able to file local files either as a corporate directly to the ATO via SBR or as a tax agent, and now as well as an intermediary too. So for those of you who are not a tax agent, you don't have a tax agent ID, but you do provide, for example, transfer pricing advice to your clients and want to file as a non-tax agent, you can do so using the intermediary functionality.
Absolutely. Yep, that's a definite benefit. Well, let's come to local file Part A and B. All this information can be data loaded into the system using our custom data load function, where you can map your data once and for all. Or you can also opt to answer the questions manually by selecting the answers in the drop-down list where applicable. So these are the two methods that you can get your data into the system. On top of that, once you have answered the questions here in the system, in case you want to drill down or you want to make changes, adjustment to the value, you are always you have the flexibility in doing so, whether to adjust the value or remove the value altogether. On top of that, one of our prized new features here is to allow you to attach your documents and link it, while also to present the file name according to the ATO file name convention, which is not the easiest one, into the system automatically. Now, the other plus point from this is that once you have loaded the data or load the document and link the document, those linkage and the documents will remain in the system for indefinitely.
Yeah, that's fantastic actually, because that means that clients not having to do that every single year or having to upload their attachments multiple times. So you can attach the attachment once and then link it to all the relevant transactions for that attachment.
Absolutely. So what you do is as simple as browsing your data, load it, and you can edit it as you wish to. Select the correct type for ALF or Australian local file. Select the year will be pre-populated based on your workbook year, so don't have to worry about it. Save it. So once you save it, the next step is from left to right is to link the document. Now we allowed you to link one document to multiple accounts on the disclosure items, or multiple documents to one particular account. So either way, the relationship is many to many. All you need to do is just select the file, select the disclosure, and link. As simple as that. Save it. Once that is all done, all you need to do is just to generate the document attachment reference, which is to automatically populate your file name in the schedule itself. What happened then is that we would use the file name as part of your XML disclosure, as well as the header for your binary codes attachment. Okay.
That's an important point actually, because Grace, the ATO provided all these different types of attachments so you can submit either it's an XLSX, an Excel file, or a Word document, or a PDF. So that means that if you're concerned about leaving it in Excel or Word, you shouldn't be, because when the ATO receive it on their end in this XML format, it'll still be read-only. They won't be able to edit those documents.
Exactly. So what you see here is that this is the file name, but behind the file name, you can always look back or reference back to the original data or documents. Once that is all done, go to your data validation. We allowed you to select one or many of the section of a local file to validate. And if you validate properly and successfully, you can go ahead with data export, which will bring you to the lodgement portal, where you can select the exported data and press lodge. What you want to see here is lodged successfully with a receipt into your email. That's it.
Wow, that is very, very simple. So I think that fits well with our timing, and I think we might just go back to the slides to do some key takeaways for everyone. So I think the important points is, Integrator, cloud-based solution. You can log in anywhere you need to around the world. You have the ability to prepare all of your Part A data, get it into the system, as Grace said, put in all of your company details that are required to lodge the local file. Then you have Part B and the ability to load in your attachments, link them to all of the relevant material transactions, validate all of your work according to the ATO's validation rules, and then lodge successfully via SBR to the ATO. So for those of you that with 31 December year-end balances, there's obviously very minimal time now before the end of the year, and very significant failure to lodge penalties for lodging late. So it's not too late to use a solution like CCH Integrator. We can deploy this very quickly and get you up and running in no time. So do reach out to us via the number that's presented on screen over there, or visit our website for more information if you have any questions in relation to today's session. So over back to you, Tony.
Thanks, Dan and Grace, for today's demonstration, and to all of our attendees, have a great day.